The story of the week seems to be that our Prime Minister got COVID. And no one really quite knows how he got it. And him being a politician, this makes that the perfect target for the conspiracy theorists. And I mean, they have a point, because it was announced that he was positive hours before he was due to take the vaccine. That does come across as very convenient. And when exactly was he tested? Well, he was tested the day before. So right before he was due to take the vaccine, he felt some flu-like symptoms and they gave him a test and it came back positive a few hours before he was due to take the vaccine.
Right now. Hey guys, I'm the editor for this video, and my boss Nathan told me to tell you, if you like the video, and if you're not subscribed, right? Yes, if you're not subscribed, you should subscribe. And yes, leave a comment if you reach to the end of the video. Tell him what you think. That's all? Okay, carry on.
It seems like as soon as the news dropped, there were some people like they couldn't hold in their excitement to shout out their great pleasure in wishing death and harm. And I understand why. I really do. If I actually believe what the politicians say about each other, and you listen to what these politicians say about each other, and if you don't understand that these people are just saying random things to try and win you over, and you actually believe what they say about each other should have us afraid of them. And probably we really should be afraid of them or concerned about them, and they should be afraid of us. But if you take seriously everything the politicians say about each other, you would hate them. You would hate the opposing side, especially if you take seriously one side. And all that feeds you is one side. If you find yourself at the time when somebody is sick thinking they should die, you really should be checking where you're getting your standards and your morals from. But that's just the thing. Where are you getting your standards and your morals from? And we as people, as humans, we are social beings, and how we socialize would obviously be from closest to us go outward. That's just how life presents it to us. So obviously there would be in groups. There would be groups of people that you would of course be closer to than others. And that is fine. That is natural. That's the way it should be. And these groups allow you to become more well-rounded if you have a good relationship in them, etc. The problem arises when these groups start to look at other groups as outsiders and us versus them. Now that's tribalism, and there's a good reason for tribalism also, because my in-group needs protection. The world has so many dangers, and a lot of the dangers that the world has comes directly from other people. So my tribe is in its full right to protect me. I want my tribe to protect me. But the problem arises when we're all in the same tribe and now we're trying to protect our tribe from another person in our tribe. My tribe is supposed to protect me, and protection generally would go the full distance. But what happens now when we all belong to the same tribe? The tribalism that we had, that we were willing to kill someone else to protect our tribe, becomes kind of dangerous if we try to do that within the same tribe. We're going to start to pull apart the tribe, and we're going to start to have infighting, and we're going to start to have bickering. And then it becomes very hard for us to have progress when we're all pulling in different directions. If you look over to nearly any country where they decided that what they want to do is heighten their levels of tribalism, let's not call any names, but I think we can think of some countries like that, and you look at the result of it. The result of it always does worse for the country. Even if this person is so bad for the country, as you may rightfully believe, you may have your just reasoning for believing whatever you believe about them. You have to understand that there was a reason that tribes decided to lower down the level of animosity they feel towards each other. If we are in the same tribe and we're able to change the animosity we feel to each other from wanting you dead to, let's say, something more harmless like football, and I want my side to beat your side, we're able to channel our own tribal urges into something that's much less violent. Because if my tribe wants your tribe dead and we're in the same tribe, the entire tribe is going to die out. That's why the concept of an eye for an eye eventually leaves the world blind. And it's not just in your great moral superiority that you decide you're going to be the bigger person and not mock someone when they're down. It's that you have to understand that by you mocking them, remember they belong to a tribe too. What do you think the tribe is going to do? Tribes are reactionary by nature. They react when you attack their tribe. That's why around election times, Trinidad, and not only Trinidad, most countries turn into an abysmal display. Because one tribe begins to attack another tribe, and now we all must defend each other. So we raise up our shields and we sling mud across the battlefield. Slinging mud across the battlefield works great if you want to be the leader of a specific group, because now we can all focus our energies on the outside enemy, and I will lead you to destroying this outside enemy. And that's what politicians do. They're using you. They know that we are naturally tribal and they enjoy playing on that nature. That's why probably the favorite word of politicians is them, is us, is they, is we. It's all about getting the group mentality in so that we're grouped together for us against them. And that's the danger that we're presenting when we allow ourselves to be carried away in such a thing. And on top of it, wishing death upon the man isn't going to actually kill him. So let's stop for a moment and actually think, what are we trying to do? What is the outcome that we hope is going to come out of this? I wish death on him publicly, and now what? Don't get me wrong though. I enjoy a good meme, and I'm not a joke police. I understand there are humorous parts to even some of the worst things, and even some of the things I may not find funny. Some people have that taste for dark humor, but we must understand that there are levels of hate that spreading in our country would only do it negative. But it is a bit suspicious how he got COVID. And if he really does like the Mexican president who said, I'm not taking any vaccine, I got COVID recently and my antibodies are high enough. He said his doctors told him that. And I don't think it's very difficult for our Prime Minister to find a doctor that will tell him that too. But I think that no one will get away with that. I doubt. But the conspiracy theory is still interesting. The downside to it is that when you look at most health professionals and what they recommend that you still get the vaccine even if you have been infected with COVID. That there's still a chance that you may get it back, and getting the vaccine would only heighten your protection. And there is some sense to that. What our body does to protect us is we create antibodies, and these antibodies recognize the virus when it comes in the next time so that it's better able to fight it and conquer it. By taking boosters of it, we get more of these antibodies, which should allow us to fight off better or even possibly get immune. So there's some sense to that. That's actually why the vaccine that we got, the AstraZeneca vaccine, is given in 2 shots. 1 shot to start it off and 1 shot to continue it going. There is a suspicious amount of world leaders that are getting COVID though. But when you think about it, it could make sense, being that most world leaders would be interacting with a lot of people, but then they're supposed to be the most protected people, and these guidelines supposed to help us to not get COVID, and they're supposed to be following all the guidelines to the T or to the letter. But then is the problem, and I think that some governments brought that problem on themselves because they promoted the guidelines as if these guidelines are the real cures to COVID. And if we can all behave and not lie too much and not gather too much and not have all these private parties. Now don't get me wrong, those aren't helping the situation, and they most certainly may be the cause of the spike we are having in Trinidad. But many people who get COVID have nothing to do with that. And you can wear a mask all day, every day, and still get COVID, because at least the cloth masks do not stop COVID. Even the surgical masks have limited ability to stop it. It's not like once you're wearing an N95 mask, you're protected forever and nothing harms you. The picture of the cloth mask, to understand what it does, is picturing trying to keep out flies with a chain link fence. It just doesn't work, because the virus is way too small to be stopped by the spaces in a cloth mask. but the virus is transported on our saliva. And as we speak, a lot of saliva leaves our mouth. And that's what the cloth masks do. So when you think about it, a cloth mask may actually be a good idea all the time in crowded areas, because there's a lot of saliva just floating around in a lot of those crowded areas. But yes, the cloth masks have limited efficacy. And when we push the idea that what we really need as a country to do to solve this problem is just obey these rules, it makes it seem like anytime anyone gets this, it's because of disobedience to these rules. But we have to bear in mind, this is a virus. The way that these viruses survive is by staying in humans, is by staying in hosts. These viruses need to stay inside of us to live, so they've gotten really good at staying there and going from one person to the other. It is contagious and it travels. Barring staying isolated constantly, the chances are there for random people to contract the disease. And when you think about it like that, putting too much weight on some good behavior as if it's the only measure of how you get COVID seems not too smart. This is not to say that we don't follow these guidelines and try to be as sensible as we can in how we react and how we move with this disease.